ancient Egyptian style. Uh, when we talk about ancient Egypt, we instantly talk about pyramids. And there is a reason for it. They are humongous. They're amazing. They're well built. They are almost mathematically uh, aligning to each other and also aligning to star systems. So this is very interesting on how precise astrology and mathematics were during that era. Um, the era of ancient Egyptian constructions began around 3000 BC and ended around 900 BC, more or less. So again, the most interesting parts of this style is obviously pyramids. They're very simple in shape, but they are grand in scale, and the amount of engineering that had to go to the construction of those pyramids is amazing. Those blocks that you see here are almost human size, so the human would pretty much fit inside right here. So you can imagine the scale, and this is the smaller one. See that two other pyramids that are humongous. Pyramids would be built mostly for us as their tombs. So that would be pretty much the only reason they would be built. For us, obviously, the dynasty that were ruling Egypt. Egypt itself was more of the wealthiest, one of the wealthiest areas during the human civilization evolution. Mainly because it was connecting trade routes to Middle East, and the trade itself was bringing a lot of wealth to the dynasty itself. So there's a lot of things that were happening during that era. Not only the pyramids that were built, but also amazing temples. One of the differences between this style and Sumerian style is that those temples and those constructions are not solid inside anymore. They're actually hollow. So you can see that here, introduction of columns, and especially here, you have the round columns. There is a row of columns that actually are holding the roof. The roof itself would be still built from wood in most cases, mostly because the wood itself is much lighter, and columns could hold the roof in place. The stone roof would probably collapse. It would be much harder to keep it up without any kind of bonding material, because otherwise you would have to have large slabs, and those slabs would be weighing way more than wooden logs. So that's sort of like from the construction point of view. Also, one interesting part is the hieroglyphs and the amount of effort that went into sculpting and painting on the walls, and actually adding the art on the walls. The art itself, it's not only just to be there, it's actually a history of those times, stories being told, and gods that are being worshipped. So this is another interesting element in terms of what makes this architectural style very unique, is the amount of great effort that went into carving and painting the structures. And obviously, these structures went through a lot of time. This is thousands of years ago, and then without reconstructing, it's hard to tell how much detail was actually here. I mean, already looking at this is an amazing amount of detail in terms of how it was sculpted, but you can see the reminiscence of paint, which means and indicates that almost the whole structure was painted with very vibrant colors. So you can only imagine how this could look in full glory. In terms of how you would use this style in your productions in video games, in majority in video games, is obviously the timepieces or historical pieces, such as, I don't know, the great example would be Age of Empires or Civilization games. Those games would definitely benefit from concept artists knowing what those architectural styles are and how they are built, because they are based on those styles. This could be also a great style for obviously fantasy games, but also sci-fi. And one of the great example of sci-fi genre that's it's not a video game but a film is Stargate. So there's a lot of views that you can start implementing from this style. There's also a lesson to be learned from the amount of effort that went into sculpting and painting actual history on the walls. So for instance, you could take a cue just from that, and if you would design a sci-fi world or maybe an alien world, you could probably have some kind of alien language that could be a history of that civilization, that alien civilization, carved on the walls. So that's like a cue that could be taken out, an idea that could be taken out and implemented into your... Okay, towards the end of this chapter,